things often come in small packages, and no, that is not something somebody who's trying to compensate. Let's not even go there. I actually believe the saying when I test drove the iPhone 12 mini. While I was happy with the form factor for a time, the battery life was, well, it was. Let's just leave it at that, right? Now, this time around, the mini isn't the same form factor, but Apple says they've made it an almost all day phone. So, what else is there to it? Let's find out in today's video. My name's Ash, you're watching C4 Retech, and let's get started. I fell in love with this compact form factor even the last time around, at least initially. Over time, I did kind of end up losing interest. The trade-offs for me, I felt they were a little too steep. Tapping on that screen with these stubby fingers, and more importantly, that battery life, the compromises that came with it. But then again, it has been a year. Well, my writer has grown older. I have, let's say, grown wiser. So I guess it's time to give the mini another shot. First impressions, the 13 mini feels super sexy in hand with its glass covered back. This midnight color, it's a very, very, very dark blue that looks almost black in most situations. And of course, glass back means hello fingerprints. Thankfully, Apple has also sent us a clear MagSafe case that is gonna get a lot of use, I promise. We have aluminum railings to the side, and at least these don't pick up fingerprints as much. The placements, they are typically Apple. Power button to the right, volume rockers, and a little slide, or rather, mute key to the left. The SIM card tray is also present to the left. The top is, well, left free. And the primary microphone lightning port, I just keep wanting to say USB Type-C port. I've said it so many times. But unfortunately, Apple still lives in lightning territory. So lightning port and speaker reside to the bottom. Now flipping the phone around, the display, it's still 5.4 inches. It's 1080p, Super Retina XDR, all those marketing terms mumbo jumbo aside. It is a really, really good display with a peak brightness of 1200 nits. And that just means it's got HDR support. There is also support for Dolby Vision. So it's a good display, good colors, excellent viewing angles. Everything's on point. What is a bummer here is the fact that Apple's decided to save 120 Hertz just for their more expensive Pros. This one is still 60 Hertz. I mean, come on, Apple. You look at something like, let's say, the Motorola Edge 20. At a fraction of the cost, it has a 144 Hertz refresh. Now, if the chip inside, if the power inside was lacking, then hey, I can understand. But this is the freaking A15 Bionic, for God's sake. It shouldn't break a sweat pushing 120 Hertz, even with intense tasks, but it is what it is. I mean, since we've touched upon performance, this, like I said, is the A15 Bionic with a 4-core GPU. The performance, it seems excellent. The 12 mini was just as fast to me, so performance was never an issue. I mean, even the A12X on my iPad Pro, 3 years after launch, it's still happily pushing 120 Hz with no issues. So anyway, coming back, the mini flies through day-to-day tasks. Apps open up quick. They're also retained in memory pretty well. iOS 15 has a few new tricks up its sleeve. I really like the new notifications implementation. They are grouped better in a more sensible manner, if you could say. The focus feature, it lets you customize what apps notify you during work or sleep. Well, we've seen all of this on Android for a while, God knows from when. But hey, it is new for Apple, so we are going to call it revolutionary. Let's talk more about this in the full review. For now, let's take a look at what is above the screen. A notch. This one houses the selfie camera and all the Face ID hardware. The notch is seemingly 20% smaller as per Apple. The display itself, it's still the same size, 5.4 inches, but the mini is marginally thicker and even a little heavier. That's because Apple has tried to address that one issue I was talking about earlier. This 0.3 millimeter increase in thickness, 6 gram increase in weight. They're supposed to get us 90 extra minutes of use. So, I mean, if you're looking at numbers, it's gone from 22-27 milliamp hour to 24-38 milliamp hour. So roughly a 10% increase. How's this gonna actually work out in day-to-day use? Now that's something I can't wait to test. With cameras, there are no major changes. Now, don't get me wrong, the 13 mini shares its setup with the more expensive iPhone 13, and they are damn good cameras. But compared to the improvements the pros have been seeing, these feel relatively boring. The ultra-wide on the 13 mini gets an upgrade from last gen, so it can gather more light than before. The daylight shots look sharp and detailed, at least initial impressions. With the primary, what is new is the addition of sensor shift technology. Now, this is where the sensor electronically moves to compensate for user movements, further eliminating unwanted shakes and jitters. The new ISPs on board, they should help achieve better image quality, which does seem noticeable even with initial impressions. The dynamic range is great. The colors, again, just look at the blues of the sky or the greens of the tree here. I really like the cameras. Now, speaking of colors, this time around we have something called photographic styles in the camera app. Well, at first glance, these might just appear as your regular old filters. Apple claims these are not just filters. Instead of applying the same parameters every single time, here they're going to be using AI, onboard AI, to analyze the scene and then apply color settings accordingly. So it's going to kind of vary from situation to situation. How well it works, only time will tell. Lastly, video performance, both 4K and 1080p clips look really steady thanks to sensor shift. The video samples, they also looked sharp with great colors. That's something we've come to expect from Apple. And the cinematic mode that we saw yesterday with the iPhone 13 Pro, that's also available here. Can use it with both the rear as well as front cameras. Talking about which, the selfie camera does do its job, although I think it's high time Apple upgraded it. They've been sticking to that sensor for a while now. The images are good enough, especially when you look at them on a tiny display like this, but the competition seems to have improved a lot. So the performance delta is getting more and more noticeable each year. You know what else is getting more and more noticeable? The pricing. The Mini starts at a very affordable... Are you kidding me? Affordable? Guys, I'm so sorry. I guess this is what we get when I let a self-proclaimed Apple fanboy write my script. I'm so sorry. Anyways, coming back, $69,900 for the base variant, which is now 128 gigs, so at least it's not 64. There's that. Like with all iPhones, this one doesn't offer a great bang for your buck. But if you are a small phone guy, this is pretty much the only game in town. And to add to it, the cheapest price of entry to the 13th floor in Apple's walled garden. So it should be of interest to some people at least, and I will have a lot more to say in my full review. But right now, what do you guys think of the iPhone 13 mini, the price, everything that Apple's brought to the table? Leave a comment down below. And also, if you have any questions that you'd want me to address in the review, let me know in the comments and I will try to get to them. And I guess with that, we are at the end of today's video. You know what to do. Thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, bell icon, all that good stuff. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Until next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.